Indiana football has hired their new head coach.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. My everydayers, I appreciate you as we are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's bonus episode of the Locked On Hoosiers podcast is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 10 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the number one daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Indiana has hired their new head football coach, and it is Curt Cignetti from James Madison. The 62-year-old is heading to Bloomington, as Indiana announced earlier today that they have hired Curt Cignetti as the new head football coach. Let's break this thing down a little bit because there's been a lot of fan reaction so far from you Hoosier faithfuls. Overall, it seems like fans are pretty excited for this hire. Seems like he was the leader in the clubhouse for a while on this thing. We talked about all the different possibilities here on the show, and his name always seemed to come up, right? His name always seemed to be in the running for the Indiana head coaching job. And I think there was good reason for that because I think he's extremely qualified for this job. He's 62 years old, and his overall record this season at James Madison is 11-1. They got all the way up to number 18 in the top 25 in the AP poll. And across his 5 years there, he's 52-9. At James Madison, okay, I know the competition is not high level, but he's playing in that conference with the same sort of talent in the same type of competition. And to go 52-9 at any school, any program, at any level is really, really good. And Indiana saw something in him. They are, it seems like, excited to bring him in. Here's what the vice president and director and the AD said, Scott Dolson. He said, I'm very excited to welcome Curt Cignetti as the head football coach at Indiana University. He went on to say, we had a very talented and deep pool of candidates, and Curt stood out thanks to an incredible track record of success over more than 4 decades in college football. He said, quote, as a head coach, he succeeded everywhere he's been, which is true. And as an assistant, he has been part of a championship culture while working alongside some of the game's best coaches. I appreciate the tremendous support throughout this process of Chair Quinn Buckner and the IU Board of Trustees and President Pam Whitten, all of whom were critical in making this day a reality. Curt Cignetti, the new head coach for Indiana football, he made a video to all the Hoosier fans, said he's excited for the opportunity. He's ready to get to Bloomington and build this thing back to where it needs to be day by day. That is key, folks. That is key in already his opening video where he's telling you it's going to take a little bit of time, right? Seems like in today's game of college football and really just life in general, there just isn't a whole lot of patience anymore. There's not a whole lot of, hey, let's hang out and be patient and see where this thing goes. There's not a whole lot of that anymore, unfortunately. But if you, the Indiana fan, can have that, I think Curt Cignetti could be really, really good here in Bloomington. I really, really do. I know the age has sort of been an issue. He's 62 years old. It's not like that's old, but he is trying to be a head coach at the highest level of college football in the Power 5 and the Big Ten as a 62-year-old. And the question becomes, okay, how long is he going to be able to coach? Well, I think he could have a successful 10 or 15 years here. If obviously if health things work out and he wins and does the things he needs to do, I think all of that is a possibility. So that doesn't really concern me. But here's what I'm hearing from and seeing from so many of you, the Indiana fans. Seems like overall, y'all are pretty excited. You all are pretty happy with the hire. And we sent out a post on our X page earlier at Locked On Hoosiers, formerly known as Twitter. Be sure you go and follow us on there. I asked you the question before the news officially went final, right? When everything was starting to come out, I tweeted out a poll and I said, how do you feel if this is finalized as Curt Cignetti being the next head coach? And the 4 options were great, the best hire possible, good, there's hope for the program, not very exciting, or bad, this is a disaster. 67% of you said it's great, the best hire possible. 23% said good, there's hope for the program. 5% said not very exciting, and 4% said bad, this is a disaster. So the major part of this fan base is at least optimistic about the Curt Cignetti hire. And, you know, I know there's a big group of the fans that are like, well, you could have gone bigger, right? You could have gotten a bigger name. We've talked about Urban Meyer and Ryan Day on the show, right? We've heard other names like Paul Chryst pop up, who have been a head coach in this league before, and Dan Mullen, right? He was there as well. But I'm okay with you not getting the big name. I've said it multiple times. You didn't need that. You need a guy who's a proven winner that's looking to get his next big shot. And that's exactly what Curt Cignetti did here. He has won everywhere he's been as an assistant coach and as a head coach, which is most important, of course. And now he's finally getting his shot to be a head football coach at the Power 5 level. And that's important to me. And I know there's a lot of feedback and pushback, I should say, from fans where, oh, he's another up-and-comer that hasn't proven it on the big stage. Indiana's going to be looking for a new head coach in 4 years. You know what? Maybe, but maybe not. Look at the positive side of it. What if this is the guy for Indiana? What if this is the hire that the Hoosiers have to make and they hit the nail on the head? They hit a home run, a grand slam, an out-of-the-park home run. What if they did that here? What if Curt Cignetti is your guy? And I like the what-if game. It's my favorite one to play. But you got to play both sides here. And in today's world of college football, with NIL and the transfer portal, you have to find the one, man. There's so much changing with the college football playoff expanding to 12 teams. And with all the conferences realigning and everybody going every which way, it's so important to find the guy right now, and solidify that before it gets even crazier and you have to go through another head coaching search. Shout out to Indiana in the athletic department. They did this thing quick, by the book, pretty much was quiet about it. I mean, we got some leaks and some updates here and there, but they were pretty quiet about who was getting legitimate interviews and who was in the lead. And when they had their guy, they made their decision and made the announcement. And I respect that. I really, really do. So Curt Cignetti from James Madison is the new head football coach for Indiana. I like the hire. I'm excited about it. And I think a lot of you are as well. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment. I want to see what you have to say. I'll be interacting with you for the next few days and on all the videos. I love seeing what you guys have to say. Comment down below. Let's drop let's do a ranking, right? On a scale of 1 to 10. All right, we'll do a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being Curt Cignetti is going to retire at Indiana. 1 being he won't last 2 years. Where do you stand on that? I want to hear from you down in the comments on YouTube, or you can tweet at me at Locked On Hoosiers on X on Twitter. Okay, you can call it whatever. I want to see your reactions and your thoughts. And we're going to break this down even further as the days go on and the weeks go on and the months go on as football season gets closer. December is going to be wild. Big opportunities for him to do some big things. And I'm excited to see where it goes as Curt Cignetti, the new head football coach for the Indiana Hoosiers. Before we get out of here, today's episode, this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers, was also brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs, when you're hiring for new small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has the vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Again, I'm Jacob Goins, your host of Locked On Hoosiers. I appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. We'll have a full episode up tomorrow on Friday previewing Indiana basketball's Big Ten opener versus Maryland and what we have to see for the Hoosiers to start out 1-0 in conference play. Subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. Like the video, helps us out tremendously. Turn on notifications wherever you are listening, and we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. I appreciate you, Indiana fans. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Curt Cignetti, he calls himself Coach Sig. How cool is that? You got to be excited about that, and I am as well. Until next time, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.